Asfoora etched her name into Australian sporting folklore with success in the King George Qatar Stakes at Royal Ascot. She became the 6th Australian-trained sprinter to win the race, emulating the likes of Choisir, Takeover Target and Miss Andretti. Next stop, it's Glorious Goodwood, where she'll take on the Qatar King George Stakes over that 5 furlongs once again. But will she come out on top, and how will she come out of Ascot? We spoke to Chanelle Ellis, her groom, to get the latest. So Chanelle, you of course have been based for the vast majority of the time here with Asfoora Amy Murphy's yard. Yep. How did she settle in originally? Has she always, we saw her today, she looked so relaxed. Was that the same when she first joined?
Yeah, it was. So we got here, I think on the 25th of April. And yeah, she got off the plane, came here. We got here about 3:30 a.m. Friday morning. And she was straight into the feed bin, and we haven't missed a beat, touch wood, since. And
in terms of your partnership with Asfoora, how did that start? When did you first kind of meet up with her?
It's only kind of new, really. So I started working for Henry, I think, I've worked for him for a little while, but just mainly like part-time casual. And I left my other job probably 2 years ago, and I was just floating around a little bit, helping out Henry. And he sort of asked me if I'd take her to Perth for the quokka. So before that, we went to Sydney and then on to Perth. And yeah, that sort of started March last year.
And what's she like to deal with?
She's a little bit quirky, like you've got to know her. But now that I know her, she's easy. Like you just keep her happy, and yeah.
And obviously she's shaped with promise at Haydock, but were you confident going into Royal Ascot that she had improved from that run? Yeah,
she was definitely a lot more fitter going into that run. We were quite light on her going into Haydock. You just don't know how they're going to travel. So from the Galaxy into Haydock, I think she had 4 weeks out. So she had 2 weeks in the paddock and then 2 weeks in the pre-training. And then yeah, just the flight over here and then just a couple of quiet gallops and then into Haydock. She was a lot more screwed down into Ascot. So I was confident going into it. But you just never know how confident you can be in a race like that. So.
And Chanelle, Royal Ascot itself first, what was that experience like, just being part of a day at Royal Ascot?
Oh, it was amazing. Like even if she hadn't won, like it was something I would never have forgotten. Just the atmosphere, the hype around it. Yeah, it was amazing.
Obviously, apart from the win, what do you kind of remember? Is it the pomp and ceremony of being in that event, King Charles III himself being there? What kind of stands out?
I just think her winning, like just with Henry, the owners, Shiny, who normally rides her in Australia here. I just think to have everyone here and for her to do that, I think that itself is probably something I'll always remember.
And talk us through your thoughts watching the race.
So when she jumped out the gates and O'Sheen had it in behind regional, I sort of thought then and there, like, she would be hard to beat. I just thought the way that he had her and the way that she was travelling, she would finish off very strong. Whether that was going to be winning, I wasn't too sure, but yeah, I just heard the race caller call it at the front, and everything after that was sort of a blur.
Yeah, I mean, what sort of emotions did you go through post-race?
I think it was a little bit embarrassing. I was jumping around screaming. There's a video going around, so. But yeah, just to have it play out the way it did, like, there's no words that can describe it. So I think, yeah, we were just ecstatic, really.
And in terms of back home in Australia, what was kind of the reception there? Were a lot of Australians surprised by the win, or did they always think that she had that in her?
I think they would have been surprised. Obviously in Australia, like, she's not one of our top sprinters. She's not far off, but it's just hard for her being a 5 furlong horse, 5.5 furlong. But yeah, just that, we thought coming over here for that 5 furlong race, it would suit her, and it did. And yeah, I think they were all excited and happy for us.
And obviously it's a race which Australia has a great tradition in. Takeover Target, Miss Andretti, Choisir, many, many more. To add your name to that roll of honour as well amongst the Australian horses must have been very special for the yard.
Yeah, it is, especially for Henry. Like, we're not an overly big stable, so we only have like 40 horses and work at a time. And to have a horse like her that can pull it off is just, yeah.
And how did the stable back home in Australia celebrate? Were there many videos being sent around to you?
Yeah, there was. I think the next day at work they had a bit of champagne and some platters, and they got spoilt. So it's good that everyone got to celebrate it. Like, it is a massive team effort. I am over here with her, but everyone's obviously put in, and yeah, just grateful to Henry Ackerham, her owner, and the whole team to be able to do this trip.
And obviously it's a big operation bringing her over, of course all the work it takes for yourself and being stabled here at Amy's, but what would you say to any Australian trainers or indeed owners who are thinking about sending a horse over to Britain?
Oh, it's definitely worth having a crack. We did and it paid off, so yeah, I can't see why other people wouldn't want to just have a crack.
And with Henry not being here all the time, how important has the role been that's been played by Amy Murphy?
They've been incredible. Like, I walked into the joint 4:30 or 3:30 a.m. on a Friday morning. Never been out of Australia. I've walked in. Amy, Lemos, her husband, the whole staff, they've just been amazing. They take us to the races. Jade rode the pony around to the start with Asfoora at Ascot. They've just been incredible. So we really can't thank them enough. And I think they've definitely made the difference to her winning that race. It feels like home being here, so it's great.
Now we've seen her this morning, pulling your arms out on the gallops, but
Yeah.
how's her prep been going into Goodwood?
Faultless. So after Ascot, she went to long holes for 14 days. So she had 10 days out in the paddock and then 7 days on the treadmill. So I picked her up last Monday afternoon and she's just been back here. She cantered for a week, had a bit of evens yesterday morning, and then yeah, she'll probably have a bit more of a gallop later on in the week.
And Goodwood has its unique idiosyncrasies. It's a very undulating track. Is she a well-balanced filly? Do you think that will really suit her in terms of that sort of unique test?
Well, we didn't really think Ascot would suit her, so with the uphill finish, and that did suit her, so I can't see why Goodwood wouldn't suit her. We sort of think York is the flat track, and that will probably suit her best out of all of them. But yeah, just whatever she does now is sort of a bonus, so whether she wins or runs second or however she finishes, we're just grateful that we got that win.
And my final question, what does Asfoora mean to you?
Sort of everything. Like, she's changed my life, and so has Henry and Ackerham and the owners. But yeah, I'll never forget her. I get a little bit teary, but yeah, like, it's just an unreal sort of experience, and I'm grateful, yeah, just to her and what I've learnt with her, and yeah.
The adventure of a lifetime continues.
Definitely, definitely.